Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have an album review for DEVOURMENT's Butcher of the Week. And in the background we're listening to Disgorgeous Cranial Impalement. So yeah. So anyways, so DEVOURMENT's second, well this is technically their third album because this is the yellow version I'm going to be reviewing, not the blue one. I want to get the blue one on CD though, I love the blue one as well. Which one I prefer more changes, but this is technically their well, it's their second album, but technically it's a re-recording, so I consider it, I don't know if I consider it their third, but it pretty much is their third that came out, but it's the second album song-wise. I don't know. This is a vinyl pressing. This is the only pressing on vinyl that's not picture disc, by the way. Actually, I don't even know if there was a vinyl version of the original Butcher of the Week, because I know the picture disc was for the original Butcher of the Week. But the re-recording, I'm pretty sure this is the only vinyl pressing that was put out through Unique Leader Records in 2016. It's a really nice pressing too, I'll show. But awesome album cover. I'd probably say this is one of DEVOURMENT's best album covers. This and Molesting the Decapitated and well, Conceived in Sea, which is it's probably their weakest album, but the album cover for that also rules. And all their album covers are pretty cool, but this one in particular stands out a lot. It's kind of an iconic album cover, but awesome album cover. I love Mike Majewski's artwork. I have a flag of this on my wall over there, which you've seen in the background of my videos. Of course, it's in blue, but who cares? Got a picture of the band. This is when Mike Majewski was on vocals. Forget the name of that drummer. I know that guy's their guitar player now. He was on bass on here, and then of course Ruben Rosas was on guitar for this album. Song titles, just a close up of the artwork. The song titles on this are probably their most not safe for work. I mean, there's only 2 songs on here that aren't ridiculous, or 2 song titles on here that aren't ridiculous, which are the title track and Tomb of Scabs. But all the songs you've got: Butcher of the Week, Masturbating Up the Slab, Serial Cocksucker, Tomb of Scabs, Autoerotic Asphyxiation, Anal Electrocution, Fuck Her Head Off, and Baby Killer. Of course, a re-recorded version of Baby Killer. Not as good as the original one. That's on 138 in my opinion, but it's still cool because it's Baby Killer. But they changed up some of the riffs and stuff. Insert, cool band photos. Looks like you got like thank yous and stuff, credits. Yeah. Yeah, all the lyrics. These are probably DEVOURMENT's most offensive lyrics, to be honest. Although this album isn't probably as extreme production-wise as Molesting the Decapitated, lyrically it's probably their most like juvenile and like crazy. I mean, lyrics to songs like Surreal Cocksucker and fucking Fuck Her Head Off are just ridiculous. The color pressing is one of my favorite color vinyl I know. It's on a blue, what did I say blue, what the fuck? It's on a yellow and black merge. I said blue because I was looking at this little inlay right here. I'm pretty sure that artwork is on the inside of Butcher of the Week. Or the Blue Butcher of the Week CD. I've looked at it on Discogs. I don't know if it's on the yellow one too, but it's like just some Mike Majewski artwork. It's neat. On this side, got more Mike Majewski artwork. Pretty cool. There's a shirt of that. I'd like to get that sometime. I don't know. His artwork is awesome. It's like very simple. Well, simple as in it's like in black and white, but he has a style that's instantly recognizable, and it's just got this really cool look to it. So anyways, production-wise, of course, the re-recording, it's very, I don't want to say very, but it's really clean. Not as clean as an not overproduced, but not as clean as like Conceived in Sewage, but it's probably the second cleanest album that they have production-wise. Of course, it's still heavy as fuck musically. I mean, they didn't change up their style a ton on this album compared to like Molesting the Decapitated. It's still got those noise parts, although they sound a little bit less sloppy. Of course, because this is really this is a lot more polished. The vocals on here from Mike Majewski. Okay, people bitch about the vocals on this album, which I will never understand, because people just say that because they're not as good as Ruben Rosas. Like, yeah, fucking Mike Majewski's vocals aren't as good as Ruben Rosas, but I don't think anybody not anybody, but I don't think that many vocalists even really come that close to being as good at gutturals as Ruben Rosas. And Mike Majewski, his vocals aren't bad at all. They're pretty solid. He mixes things up on here too with his vocals. Sometimes he does some like suffocation-y, kind of more like not quite as guttural like Exhales. I know he does that on most of the songs on here, actually. On the blue version of Butcher of the Week, I know that there's some guest vocals from Ruben Rosas, which is awesome, but there's none of that on here, so oh well. But this album probably has more blast beats than Molesting the Decapitated, actually. There's a lot of blasting on here. The slams on here, really awesome. I wouldn't say they're as memorable as on Molesting the Decapitated, but I'm not going to just be comparing this whole album to Molesting the Decapitated all the time, because too many people do that, and they don't really know how to take this album for what it is. It's still a fantastic album. It's one of Devourment's best releases. I'd probably say this is their second best album behind Molesting the Decapitated, of course, but it's still fucking great. Masturbating at the Slab has got a really awesome slam in one part of it. It's really catchy shit. I love the intro to the album on the title track. There's like a sample. I'm pretty sure it's with Ed Gein, I want to say. It's just awesome. Really fucking like corny in a edgy way. It's just a cool way to open up the album with the Dead Won't Bother You, and then the band starts to play for a second, and then he says it's the living you gotta worry about, and then they just kick right into the blast beats. It's just awesome. Serial Cocksucker, one of the best songs on the album. It opens up really cool. There's just like 4 hits on like a China, and they start doing some just like grade A fucking slams. You know, just really fucking pummeling. The blast beats on this album just hit really hard. The drums are fantastic on this album. They're not quite as sloppy. Well, I don't know if I say sloppy, but they're not. They sound a little bit more like polished and less like all over the place than Brad Fincher's drumming. But okay, Brad Fincher is the original drummer, right? I get names so bad with names, but you know what I'm talking about. The original drummer for Devourment is a different drummer. His the guy on this album he has a very different drum style. He doesn't do as many like fills and stuff on this album. A lot of it's very straightforward, but it's a little more polished. Like probably because of the production. But yeah, Serial Cocksucker is a great one. Tomb of Scabs is another solid track. Just some cool slams in there. Autoerotic Asphyxiation, one of my favorites, if not my favorite on here. There's some riffs in there and rhythms that are very similar to Choking on Bile if you listen really closely, which I think is interesting. But it's a solid fucking track though. It's got some awesome riffs. This is kind of a difficult album to review because there isn't really anything super like that like stands out about it. It's just a very solid slam album. Anal Electrocution is another one of the best ones on here. Fuck Her Head Off is decent. I think the best tracks on here are definitely the first 3, and then Autoerotic Asphyxiation. The rest of it, a lot of this album tends to blend together, honestly. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not like Molesting the Decapitated where every song sticks out. On this here, it's more just kind of one continuous grind. I mean, they continue that, like, what do you call it? They continue that kind of recipe of just, like, blast beats, slams, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's still just really fun to listen to. The re-recording of Baby Killer is pretty decent. It's not as good as the original. It doesn't sound as fucked up. And just some of the riff transitions aren't as satisfying to listen to. But it's still a really cool track, of course. And it's cool how they have Baby Killer as the outro on this album. I always thought that was kind of neat. Because it's kind of like with like Slayer's Rain in Blood, how you're waiting the whole album for like Raining Blood to come on. It's like that on this. It's like you're waiting for the one big, super popular song at the end. It just makes it kind of climatic, I suppose. I don't know what else to say. Production-wise, the guitars are pretty good. Nothing super fantastic about the guitar tone, really, but just, you know, solid. Devourment's never really been a band you listen to for like super technical riffs, of course. Obviously, really dumbed down riffs. I mean that in a good way. No like ridiculous, super like in your face like technicality, but it's just very straightforward. I'm sorry, I like zoned out for a second. It's like just really straightforward, simple, chuggy riffs, and then noisy, like just noise parts over the blast beats. You know, Ruben Rosas get the job done on here, but I think he was better on vocals. Mike Majewski, you know, his vocals are solid. The bass isn't really that audible on here, but when you can hear it a little bit in some parts. The drums are actually probably one of my favorite parts of this album, though. They're very just pummeling and heavy sounding. So overall, I think I'd give Butcher of the Week like a 8 out of 10. It's a solid album. One of the best things Devourment's put out besides Molesting the Decapitated. And this album was actually my introduction to Devourment. This is the first thing I ever heard from them. Actually, no, scratch that. The first thing I heard was, I heard the original version of Baby Killer, but this is the album that got me into them, though. Because when I first heard Baby Killer, I wasn't into death metal for that long, and it didn't do much for me. Honestly, like, it was too much for me at the time when I first heard Baby Killer. But then I was probably listening to death metal for almost a year, and then I heard this album, and I just really enjoyed it. It just clicked. So this is the first, like, Slam album I ever got into. But, yeah, that's it for this video, though. Devourment's Butcher of the Week, 8 out of 10. Really awesome album. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.